I want to go back to Sean Penn because you say that he's supposed to be like the sort of the poster child of America. I mean, but he ends up being sort of the poster child of Trump's America. You know, he weaponizes ICE for his own personal kind of vendetta. And I was sitting there the whole way through the movie, kind of going, you know what? If I hope they don't, but if they ever make a biopic of RFK Jr., Sean Penn needs to play RFK Jr.
You're wonderful to see. You ought to be in pictures all.
Okay, Steve, so the film that everybody is talking about at the moment is Paul Thomas Anderson's new film, One Battle After Another, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. This is a film that has sort of arrived with sort of incredible buzz. And everybody seems to be loving it. And I went and saw it on last Friday, just after I got back from Busan, and it was with a great sigh of relief that I loved it. I came out of it and I was just like, oh, thank goodness. If nothing else, I was just like, that's fantastic for so many reasons that I'm sure we will get into. And I came straight out and messaged you. I was like, do you have plans to see this movie this weekend? If not, please make sure you do. So
I was so busy yesterday that I skipped out of church early so that I could catch a 10 a.m. showing. I had so many things to do, but I thought James really wants to do this film. It's Paul Thomas Anderson. Mm-hmm. Just knowing that Sean Penn's in it, Benicio del Toro's in it, Leonardo DiCaprio, I'm sign me up. I'm on board. Having said that, I've always had a bit of a complicated relationship with Paul Thomas Anderson. I acknowledge he's one of the great filmmakers. Like there are wonderful, he's a wonderful filmmaker. I'm going to start by saying that. Having said that, his films often don't connect with me the way they seem to connect with other people. And if I had to put the sum of his films, the way I view it, like a single word is that, or a single phrase would be the parts are better than the sum. You always hear the sum is greater than the parts.
Yeah.
I always feel like there's parts in this film, like whether it's like There Will Be Blood. As a whole, I don't know if I really love the movie, but there are scenes in that film. There are scenes with Daniel Day-Lewis that I will watch again and again on YouTube. Like they are wonderful scenes. Boogie Nights, Phantom Thread, Licorice Pizza, the same. I went into this film, the first half hour, James, I was like, I hate this movie. I don't like this movie. Like, I'm not getting the motivations, why these people are acting the way they did. And I thought, we're gonna score virally. We're gonna have a viral video just how much I hate. James is gonna love it. I'm gonna give it a 1. He's gonna give it a 5, and we're off to the races. And the thing is, after that half an hour, and the shift happens time wise,
right?
And we're in the future. Suddenly, I was appreciating so much of this film. I was falling in love with the characters. Benicio del Toro, in the end, became like my favorite character. Like, I want to be this guy.
Well, I just figured, you're because you're a bit of a sort of washed up hippie yourself. So I thought, you should really sort of connect with that. I mean, I just want to say from the start, the fact that you started this by saying, I skipped out of church to go watch this movie. I was like, if this movie wasn't going to upset the right enough already, you saying that you skipped out on church to go watch it, I was just like, oh man, that's so perfect.
That's it.
I suppose
I skipped out early. Out early. Okay. I'm not a pastor anymore. The meeting is not dependent on me. I can slide out the back.
Well, God is everywhere, right? So you don't have to be there. It's okay.
And I experience him often in the cinema. It is there you go. It is a holy place. Anyhow, we digress.
We do. So, I mean, I suppose I was somewhat primed for this movie because I have read the book, Thomas Pynchon's Vineland, which, although this is not an adaptation of that, this certainly is where the genesis of the idea came from. I suppose it was about a year or so ago when it first was announced that they were making this, and it was P.T. Anderson and DiCaprio, and they were adapting Vineland. And Vineland is a book I have owned. I have owned this copy of Vineland since the 90s. I want to say I bought it while I was at university, and It has sat on my desk. It has come all the way to Hong Kong with me, sat on the shelf, and I must have owned it for the best part of 30 years. And
Mm.
I had tried to read it once or twice, and I had never got anywhere. Just the dense prose, I just could not follow it,
Yeah.
couldn't grasp it. So about a year ago, back around the time this was announced, I do a little book club with a couple of friends of mine, and so I proposed that we do this, and so we did, and so I have read it, and so, but I'm not. I couldn't even say having read it, I'm 100% confident what it's actually about. Um, or what even happens in it. But I mean, like all the character names have changed and all the rest of it, and the time setting is slightly different because this was written in the 80s, and so they are very much sort of Vietnam era protesters and activists who are then, we then catch up with sort of 15, 20 years later. But the broad strokes of the plot are the same,
Yeah.
to the extent that as this movie was unspooling, I was like, oh, yeah, okay, right, yes, I remember this, and I remember this, and I remember this. And so I think that gave me something of an introduction so that I wasn't coming to this movie completely cold. I kind of knew. So in that first half an hour or so, I'm kind of like, okay, yes, I get it. This is the before time stuff. And
Right.
and then it reestablished itself. I have a total faith pretty much in sort of DiCaprio's choices by this stage.
Yeah.
He's become one of my favorite actors just because he always, I guess because of his associations with Scorsese, probably at an important time. And just he always seems to do stuff that is interesting, even if it's, a film that I'm not 100% in love with. I'm still on board, or at least in the same groove with what he's going for. And Paul Thomas Anderson, I've got to be honest, I do really love his stuff. I think he's one of those filmmakers working in America today who he's not derivative of other filmmakers. I mean, I think when he first came out, I think the first film of his I saw was Boogie Nights.
Same. Yeah.
I saw that. I remember that came out when I was at university, and we went to see it. And that one did feel very much like, oh, this dude has just been watching Scorsese movies his whole life, and just the energy of it and the camera movements and all of that kind of stuff felt very. Derivative seems a little too sort of strong for what I'm saying, but definitely inspired by. But since then, you talk about films like There Will Be Blood or Phantom Thread or the Master and Punch Drunk Love. It's like you go into any one of those films and you have no idea where it's going, where it's going to take you. And I think that
same with this movie. I had no idea where this film was going. I didn't know how it was going to land. I agree.
Well, I mean, I think what I can say is that although I did have a vague idea of where I thought the plot might go because of the book, and I knew it was at least inspired by that, that didn't detract from sort of the enjoyment of the journey at all. If anything, it helped me sort of engage faster, really. But I've always enjoyed that kind of air of mystery, if you like, to his movies, just because they don't seem to be beholden to a kind of structure or speak to a mainstream audience or anything like that. And I just find it incredibly sort of refreshing. While at the same time, they are so sort of cine literate. You can feel they're made by someone who knows cinema so well.
Yeah.
Who understands the mechanics of cinema, or how you can use it as a tool to tell stories and to evoke emotions and all the rest of it without just going, hey, remember that thing from this old movie? I want to do the same thing.
There are scenes in Paul Thomas Anderson films, like I said, that they stick in your brain. I mean, for me with Boogie Nights and Philip Seymour Hoffman, there's a scene where he's like the camera grip guy who's offset, and the sexual lust he has in that moment, what he conveys, because here he's this frumpy guy, and I'll never forget that scene. I mean, this is before he really made it as an actor of renown, and I thought, and it seems like subsequently Paul Thomas Anderson has had these moments. That's why I kind of tend to say sometimes his parts do more for me than the sums do. because I just find in his films, there are films like in Phantom Thread with Daniel Day-Lewis, that there's such precision in the way that he engages with the tailoring and the work that he's doing, that it's hard not to be mesmerized and brought into this world. And so, I mean, Paul Thomas Anderson has this ability to draw us into this world, and he was able to do it to me in this film because, like I said, I hated the first 30 minutes. I'm thinking, why is Sean Penn acting like this? Why is this girl acting like why is this, like, I am so not of this world, and this is not connecting with me at all. And then somehow, once it moves forward and we have the interaction between Willow and Leonardo DiCaprio, the father, their interactions,
Mm.
Sean Penn's persistent actions, the Christmas Club, like just the
Yeah.
ickiness of the Christmas Club. And, and the funny thing is, as I'm watching this with the polarization that's happening in America, although probably there is a little skewing to the left, it really shows both the left and the right to be totally batshit crazy. Like, both of these sides are nuts. I love there's even comments, even though Leonardo DiCaprio is on the left and he's embraced this radical leftist nature, he gets so pissed off at the guy, like, oh, these liberal wackos. Like, he's just like, and there's parts of this film where I just laughed out loud. The Benicio del Toro character, I've never seen a character, I think, in a movie that is so nonplussed about what's going on around him. Nothing is going to disturb his zen. He just, everything, he's got everything sorted. Don't forget to grab a few beers. Here, have a beer. Like, it's like, I wanted, all I kept thinking was, at the end of this movie, I want a TV show with Benicio del Toro and this character and his weekly antics that go on. But basically, the world around him is crazy. It's insane. Just nutty things are happening, and yet he is this center of calm and gravity. And you can see how he brings this life to the people around him, and that's when the movie really started to win me over. The acting, the character development, where these folks were going. I thought, I can't help it. My one star was rapidly going
Wow.
up.
Because, I mean, I don't know about you. I do know about you. You obviously disagree with me, but from almost the first minute, I was absolutely bewitched by, like, Teyana Taylor's character. I mean, I don't think I've seen her really do anything. I think she's mainly a singer, but I was just like, holy hell, who is this woman? She is such a force of nature. She is so incredibly sort of powerful and confident and doesn't give a shit about anything, and she is just like tearing through just society, however she pleases. You're just like, okay, this is, she's like an Exocet missile, but where she's headed isn't necessarily a good place. But at the same time, I was just kind of like, oh crap. And
the thing is,
that kept me engaged immediately, I think.
Well, I would say now, James, is that having now watched the whole film, that first half hour has taken on a different life than when I originally viewed it. And now, as I've reflected on it, we've talked before, what is a film? Are you thinking about it days later, or has it receded into the forgotten Netflix, high profile film that we're all supposed to watch, and then we forget even the name of it 10 days after we've watched it? Or are we still pondering aspects of that film? And this is a film that's going to be sitting on my brain for the next few weeks.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I think the same day I bought a ticket to go see it again. I'm going to go see it again on Wednesday.
Okay.
So, yeah, I saw it Friday. Today is Monday. I'm going to see it on Wednesday. Because I just felt, okay, this is a movie that, I want to make sure I see it again in IMAX on the big screen while it's out, because I don't know how long it's going to actually be out here. Sadly, this is a film that was shot on VistaVision and is being projected in some places on 70mm. We do not have that option in Hong Kong, which is a crime and a tragedy, but there's nothing we can do about that. So the next best thing is go see it in IMAX, and just as you're watching it, I mean, just the photography and the editing and the energy and the music, both the score, the Johnny Greenwood score, and the use of sort of really, really kind of eclectic sort of jukebox choices, if you like, all the way through. I was just like, this is a great sort of experience just sort of living through all of this. I mean, that climactic car chase, I can't remember seeing anything like that. A car chase filmed like that, where you've almost got the POV of the cars. It's going up and down over those. It's almost like crests of waves.
Yeah.
It was astonishing how they did that. And I have to say, I mean, all across the board, the performances are superb.
Absolutely.
I mean, Chase Infinity plays Willa. I don't think I've seen her in anything.
I haven't seen her before.
She's gonna go places after this. I mean, Sean Penn, is great to see him again. I mean, he hasn't gone anywhere, but seeing him do this, I was like, on the one hand, I'm like, what is that? You're kind of staring at him going, what is that haircut? What is that walk? What is that weird
the walk? I want to know who devised the walk. Somebody had to say. And the thing is, now it's so creepy. There's a creepiness of the whole character. How they concocted that character to be kind of the pinnacle of what we've made out to be the hero in America. And that was the great criticism in this film, the wonderful critique, is it holds up this person who gets the award for capturing the immigrants and is made out to be the hero. And yet he is the most psychotic, the most decrepit.
Sure.
This guy is just toxic bad all the way down. It's too bad. I think that's probably my initial disappointment that I had to overcome. Was I really thought Sean Penn was going to be the good guy in this, and he couldn't have been further. I went into this film, James. You knew the book and everything. I went in blind. I knew nothing about what this was about. Leonardo DiCaprio's character. I mean, his role was comedic in this. I laughed out loud a number of times.
He's great. Yeah.
His comedic timing has gotten so good. He is a seasoned actor. It's funny, when I saw him in Titanic years ago, I just thought, oh, this is a pretty boy that's going to get, he's got his one, moment in the sunlight and he will disappear. I couldn't have been more wrong.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he has made incredibly bold and good choices pretty much ever since. I mean, I think that's why after Titanic, he didn't do a movie for a couple of years. I think he was actually chasing American Psycho is what he wanted to do. And obviously all his management were like, you can't do that. You can't do that. You're going to completely destroy everything. And I think the Beach ended up being like the next movie that he did.
Which was not even really something that...
It should have been Ewan McGregor. It's what caused Ewan McGregor and Danny Boyle to fall out. But I want to go back to Sean Penn, because you say that he's supposed to be like the sort of the poster child of America. I mean, but he ends up being sort of the poster child of Trump's America. He weaponizes ICE for his own personal kind of vendetta. And I was sitting there the whole way through the movie, kind of going, you know what? If I hope they don't, but if they ever make a biopic of RFK Jr., Sean Penn needs to play RFK Jr. It's like the voice and the
voice and the face. There's a whole thing going there. Yeah.
I just couldn't get that out of my head the whole way through the movie, and luckily, politically they align quite nicely. And
it's interesting, like, he's such a decrepit character. After they kill him, they have to bring him back to life just so they can kill him again. It's like, in my mind, the logic is, as a filmmaker, it's like, you've got him dead, why did you bring him back to life just so you could kill him again? And then I realized, it's an extremely cathartic moment for us.
That's it. I mean, because I laughed out loud many times during this movie, but that moment when they cut back to him and he's just walking back down the road and he's covered in blood.
That little like, did he have to practice that walk? How did they figure that walk out? That was nuts.
It's great. It's like he's been in. It's so much scar tissue and metal plates and permanent muscle damage and nerve damage and all the rest. And then when you see his face at the end,
after he's been shot in the face with a shotgun, and he's like, I'd be pleased to accept the membership in a Christmas club. Yeah.
It's so good. But I did like that it was, of course, I think its politics are quite obvious, but at the same time, it does criticize extremism at both ends.
Absolutely.
And it's just like, these guys at one end are just as bonkers and unhinged and sort of untrustworthy or unreliable as the others as well. And I thought that was quite a sort of a deft observation.
Well, that's what connected with me finally, is these two extremes that were kind of placed before me at the beginning of the film. I
Mm,
don't identify with either one of these, so it's okay. I'm like an outsider. Crazy right, crazy left, going at it. Fine. It's the Benicio del Toro characters that drew me in because here's the guy that just wants to help people. This is all he cares about is helping people,
mm,
bringing a flourishing life to people that are marginalized. And so you see the social critique in the film. Crazy left is not where we want to be. I don't want what's her name? That crazy rebel woman who's just nuts, man.
oh, the mother, you
The
mean?
mother. What's the mother's?
Perfidia Beverly Hills.
Yeah, it's Perfidia Beverly Hills, man. Just she is. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants Sean Penn's character. Everybody wants
Mm,
a world that is full of the Benicio del Toro characters, bringing calm to situations, bringing peace to situations, helping the marginalized, not getting radicalized on one side or the other. He's not bad mouthing anybody. He bad mouths nobody in this film. And that's why,
mm.
for me, he's the hero of this, you know. And just there's so many comedic elements. You know, when
Oh,
he takes
sure.
the swig of booze and the cop car goes out. Okay, I'm going to swing around and slow down, and you jump out. You know, it's like, what? You know, it's like and of course you got to jump out of the car. The
But
moments like that,
there's
just
more than
yeah,
a sort of a nod to like the Big Lebowski and all of this. You know,
yeah,
I think just sort of the tone when that picks up steam, and you know it's sort of the dude and John Goodman's character sort of driving along where they're trying to sort of double crossers, you know, with the
yeah.
with the bag of undies, and he's like, okay, you roll out, I'm going to throw this out the window. It feels very very similar to those sequences towards the end of One Battle After Another when those two when those two are sort of riding off to mount their escape.
Yeah.
So there's more than there's more than a hint of that in there, and that's all good fun. I think DiCaprio is kind of like halfway between his character from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and
Yes.
Rick
Yeah.
Dalton
Yeah.
and the big and the dude Lebowski
The dude.
from the
Yeah.
Big Lebowski. You know, he's caught somewhere in the middle, and you know he's kind of lost. He had an agenda once upon a time, but now
Yeah.
he's just like completely to the lost to the point that he doesn't even remember the rules that he probably wrote and created like
That's
15
it.
years earlier.
Well, you know, it's interesting. As you said, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, there is kind of a mirroring of the Brad Pitt's character and the Benicio del Toro's character to Leonardo's. Like you have the very neurotic. I'm not comfortable in my own skin. Leonardo DiCaprio character, and in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, you've got Brad Pitt, who's just totally comfortable as his
Mm.
stunt man. And then obviously the Benicio del Toro character in One Battle After Another, and that they're the calm in the storm. They calm DiCaprio's storm, and the buddy system they got going makes for some of the funniest comedic moments in the film.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, it's incredible how well DiCaprio has managed to portray sort of drug fried neuroses in the last sort of couple of movies that he's done for the last decade or so now. Well, since Wolf of Wall Street, probably. You know, he's just
Oh,
like,
and he's
you
like,
know what? I can do this quite well, and he can get real big laughs from it, and I think it's going great guns for him. But
yeah,
I guess we should really give a shout out to Chase Infinity, which is just a superb name. It sounds like a name of a character in this movie rather than
yeah,
her actual stage name. I mean, it's her real name. It's Chase Infinity Payne is her real name. And she was in Presumed Innocent. That's where I've seen her before. I didn't realize that. The Apple TV did a recent remake of Presumed Innocent with Jake
oh, I didn't see
Gyllenhaal in
that.
it,
Yeah,
and yeah, she's the daughter in that, I think. But yeah, she's absolutely phenomenal in this. I
yeah,
think that's the part really where if that character doesn't work, then your movie kind of loses
yeah.
its focus, because at the end of the day, everybody is doing all of this for her,
Mhm.
you know, you know, to find out
Yeah.
the truth behind her, and just that whole sort of heartbreaking finale, really, when you discover, you know, inevitably somewhat who her father
Well,
really
we
is.
kind of knew,
Of
from the
yeah,
beginning, but
and then
there,
who she chooses to be, and just yeah, I shed a tear at the end there as well, because when
if
she
if
makes
she
that
had
choice.
shut well, if she had shot her father, like, and there's that moment where I don't know where they're going to go in this film, and they're already kind of playing that she is starting to exude some of the temperaments of her mother, and her mother was batshit crazy. So if she starts to become mom, she's going to shoot him because she's all about the revolution. And in that moment, and in my mind, I was thinking, if she shoots her dad, this is dropping like 3 stars. Like, I was just going to be so angry. And yet, like you said, they went the right route.
Oh
It became
yeah,
a father
yeah.
daughter thing, and it was a beautiful moment, and yeah, it was great.
I mean, I just thought the whole thing really. I mean, you could have told this story as a pretty straight up, by the numbers drama, really. Just about a young woman caught in the system. Whose mother is
Yeah,
dead or exiled
yeah,
or whatever, and her father's a deadbeat, and then this other guy turns up and says that you could play all of the beats of the story in a very, very different manner,
yeah,
and it would be a perfectly serviceable movie. But the fact that it's as exciting as it is, and as action packed as it is, and as funny as it is, I think is huge credit to Paul Thomas Anderson and just his vision and what he's able to energize his storytelling with and get out of his actors.
yeah.
And it's a huge surprise, and I think it's why the movie ends up being so entertaining on top of everything else. It really does have some things to say about the state of America right now,
Yeah.
but it doesn't ram it down your throat. Like we said, it actually comes out not relatively balanced, but it does criticize, the extremities of both
Yeah.
sides. It definitely has a point of view, but I don't think it's an outrageously sort of lopsided point of view,
Yeah.
but just how it's able to touch upon things like sort of immigration and ICE and things like that without sort of wagging its finger. White supremacy and all of
Yeah.
these things, while at the same time remaining entertaining. And I just think it's a great job all around, and just the package. I was just like, all in all, I was absolutely riveted to my seat, and I had a great time. And like I said, almost the first thing I did when I came out was like book another ticket to go see it, the following week, because it's going to be very high, I think, in my list of movies of the year so far, unless something else shows up. So
Yeah, it's definitely worked its way into the top 10 for me. Even processing it with you again, as we've often said, it's even highlighted more how much I appreciate elements in this film that maybe I hadn't considered originally. What are we going to use as a standard measurement for one battle after another?
oh, there's so many. There are those little tracking
What about the little tracking
things?
devices?
Yes.
That was my first thought. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Let's see how many of those.
Yeah.
Let's bring our little tracking devices together.
Devices
So they make that
together.
little tune.
Let's see. Yes. I'll go first because I put this on Letterboxd this morning, and I'm going to make an adjustment on it because I gave it 3.5, and I don't feel that that's an honest. As I've processed it, as I've thought about it, I'm appreciating it more and more. I'm probably not going to love it as much as you did. The sum of it, the parts I love, the sum. There are some elements I'm thinking, how did that work? And leaving that aside, I'm going to give it 4 far left crazy fanatic walkie-talkie music devices out of 5.
Fabulous. Yes, I suppose I was predisposed to like this, but that's not to say that I'm a PTA fanboy or anything like that. Like Licorice Pizza, for example, I was fairly lukewarm on that one.
Yeah,
it's not one of my favorites, but most of his others really do work for me. And this was just I think this is greater than the sum of its parts, actually. I think on paper it's already really strong. You've got that director, he's reunited with Johnny Greenwood again. This cast, DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Benicio del Toro, and then all the actresses as well. We haven't mentioned Regina Hall; she was great, and Shayna McHale, who played Jungle Pussy. You remember? Yeah, she was great. I don't think I've seen her in much before, but yeah, she was great. All of these incredibly strong, formidable sort of female performances all the way through.
I just got to add Kevin Tighe, who plays one of the baddies in the circle. Him and Tony Goldwyn. I'm a big Tony Goldwyn fan.
Sure,
I love Tony Goldwyn.
Ever since Ghost.
Ever since Ghost, he plays in one of my best Jesus movies called Joshua. He plays a Jesus today. I've always liked his career. He's done a number of things I've really enjoyed over the years. Even in this film, he plays it's a smaller role, but it's done so well. But Kevin Tighe is one of the creepy guys. He's like the main lead guy. He was in Chips when I was growing up on the TV show Chips. And I'm thinking, where do I know this guy? And I looked him up on Wikipedia and I thought, crikey, he's still around. Good for him.
Yes, no, thank you for bringing him up, because at the time I was like, oh, where do I know that guy from? And then I forgot about it. Roadhouse. I know him from Roadhouse. Yeah.
Okay.
He's like one of the main bad guys in Roadhouse. And
he's always tended, ever since Chips, he tends to play the weird bad guy for sure.
Definitely. But yeah, suffice to say, I think this is absolutely fabulous. It's about so much. It's intelligent, but it is also incredibly entertaining. It's innovative in its execution, but at the same time manages to not alienate its audience, not make its audience feel stupid. But quite the contrary. It's like, we're going to talk about politics a little bit. We're going to talk about some pressing issues of the day, but we're going to have a lot of fun at the same time. The more I talk about it, the more similarities I do see between it and The Big Lebowski. Actually, I think that there's a lot of the same ideas. I don't think that particularly in their execution they're similar, but a lot of the same ideas, a lot of the same kind of sort of what do I mean? Unorthodox characters, being given sort of pivotal roles in it, and I just thought it was great. It's so exciting, it's so funny, it's so sort of in your face. It's got real attitude, which I really appreciate, and I'm really looking forward to going and watching it again. I can't wait. I think this is one of my favorite movies of the year so far, and it's getting a full 5 handmade walkie-talkie out of 5 from me.
Fantastic. Well, that's what James and I think about one battle after another. Do you feel the same? We'd love to hear your comments. We'd love to start a conversation with you about it in the comment box below. James?
That's right. Yeah. Are you okay? I wanted to ask you about Thomas Pynchon fans. Anybody read Vineland? Anybody read any other Thomas Pynchon books? I know it's not the first Thomas Pynchon book the PTA has adapted. He did Inherent Vice as well, which I haven't read. It's the only one I've read. And I really struggled with it. I mean, it took me 30 years to read it, but I did eventually sit down last year and read it cover to cover. I liked it, but it was hard work. So where should I go from here? Let me know.
Good. Until next episode, everybody.
You're wonderful to see. You ought to be in pictures. Oh, what a hit you would be.